everyone, and welcome to another stream for NASEF Farmcraft. We are joined with a lot of things for today, so we are going to be hopping quickly into them. But first, I want to give a couple of reminders to all of our teams that are competing in NASEF Farmcraft. First off, congratulations for making it through preseason and the first regular season challenge that we have put out. We've got a ton of scores from the different folks who completed the tropical biome in NASEF Farmcraft. And so if you actually visit the link that's pinned in the chat, so it's nasef.org/learning/farmcraft/leaderboard, but that's why we link it everywhere. That is where the current leaderboard is, and we have the top two countries that have scores coming in are, if I saw correctly, the US. So we have the United States and Romania that are kind of the top two countries that have teams competing in NASEF Farmcraft right now. And we wanted to review what's at stake again. So prizing for NASEF Farmcraft. Now, you don't have to be participating in NASEF Farmcraft for prizing. We have a lot of teams that are participating just to learn Minecraft, to have something fun to complete, and just have an excuse really to play everyone's favorite game. So if you are looking to be the very best NASEF Farmcraft team in scores, then we do have some prizing that is available. So the top team, so the first place team of each division, so that means that they've accomplished all 3 regular season challenges and that they have the highest score in the NASEF leaderboard. They will be awarded 20 HyperX headsets. So we have first place for junior, senior, and all ages, and they all have their separate awards. For second place, they will be getting 10 HyperX headsets, and that is also per division. And then third place is 10 HyperX headsets as well. So we are going to be awarding the top 3 teams in each division with this prizing. But like I said, we have so many teams we have over 800 teams actually. Maybe I made that up. Wow. I think we have around 800
I don't think you made that up.
You did not make that up.
You are speaking the truth.
I'm gonna quickly
big facts. Yeah.
Check myself.
Okay, you do that.
But we have so many teams that are competing, and we know that not every single team that is competing is doing so for the prizing at all. We really are looking to bring everyone together on this excursion that we've developed. So we have 700 teams. I did overshoot us a little bit, but we have over 700 teams competing across 35 countries. So
yeah, to the nearest 800.
All over the world.
That's right. We can't round down because then we're eliminating teams.
It's a base 800 number, so
that's right.
Base 800. So one.
Oh, there's one.
And registration does close April 30th, so it's not too late to join or create additional teams in NASEF Farmcraft, and you will have a chance to submit to the past regular season challenges that you may have missed. You will have the chance to submit to that if you also are still interested in going for the prizing that we have for NASEF Farmcraft. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. But we're actually going to bring back our favorite segment from a few weeks ago, Food for Thought. So sit tight and we will be joined in Minecraft shortly.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Want to do some introductions, I'm guessing, though, real fast, though, because that's the exciting part. There's that Food for Thought video card, isn't there? I'm good at this.
And we're back for our favorite segment.
Such a clean transition.
Very clean transition. That's what we're here for. That's right. We're going for more of a drive time radio sort of vibe, as opposed
is it a
to
satellite phone? Yep. Yep. Okay. Are you on the ground?
I'll
Romania.
adjust to that eventually. Trust me. So anyway, Sam, I figure we'll do some introductions and then we're going to jump right in because we have very special guests with us as always, and this is my favorite part of these particular live streams. So Kathy, I know I always pass it to you to start, so I'm going to pass it to you to start before we introduce our very special guest today. Let's get ourselves out of the way.
All right. Well, did you introduce yourself?
I did not. You go first.
Oh, no. Oh, you want me to start today?
Yes.
All right. So
I mean, unless rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, rock, paper, we could do that too. But anyway, hi everyone, I'm Kathy Chow Isaacs. I'm a global Minecraft mentor and I don't know, part of the Farmcraft playing team and play testing team. So I'm excited to be here. We've had a chance to play this world a few times and we're super psyched that it's been launched and we've had so many students playing it. So we're psyched for today and our special guest. And so I'm gonna send it back to Eric.
And that's me, the guy who talks randomly at random parts of the stream. My name is Eric Leitner. I'm a STEM and computer science instructional facilitator for Broward County Public Schools. I am a global Minecraft mentor, which I've made a cool background for. It's over that way. And Kathy, I'll get you one of these. But you know, as always, I love being on these streams. I love making the connection to education, which NASEF is doing such a phenomenal job of bringing these fields, career fields, as well as the play fields within video games and esports together. And that's what makes this so spectacular. And none of that happens for Farmcraft without the mayor of Farmcraft. So Mr. Brian, Mr. Cleverlike,
order, order. I must have an order. Hey,
that's a judge of Farmcraft.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a very small
anyone
town.
in a leadership position needs a gavel. It's just you gotta clack that hammer on the wood to get people in line. Yeah. So hey guys, I am Brian Cleverlike. I get to create video games for a living, and I do so inside of popular video games to try to help inspire kids to become creators, and also help teach educational experiences and allow people to experience things that they can't do in real life through video games, so that we have a platform for discussion, which is one of the great things with Farmcraft. And so without further ado, do we pass it on to Sam? Are we going to keep everybody waiting here?
I think we should pass it on to Sam.
It goes to Sam, like she's right there. Sam, what's up?
Patiently waiting in the lab, no less.
Yes, I love that.
As historically notable for not introducing herself and getting right to it. But my name is Samantha Anton, and I'm currently Chief Operating Officer for NASEF. But truly, NASEF Farmcraft right now is my bread, my butter, and all the vegetables that come in the garden that we're actually growing wheat in NASEF Farmcraft. So that is the bread, and we just need some cows in there to get the butter. But I'm super excited for just the conversations that we're trying to encourage teams to have with one another, taking a look at food and where does it come from, and what decisions do real people in the world have to make when they are creating food, not only for themselves and growing food for themselves, but also for people, and as a responsibility that they have and everything that goes into it. So I'm super excited for this food for thought. And I will hand the reins over to Eric and Kathy, but also to bring in our esteemed guests today to encourage us in a conversation around soil.
So I'm excited to get started. So without further ado, we'll do a quick introduction, of course, because this conversation is going to be ongoing as we play in the Farmcraft world. But I would like to introduce Dr. Jennifer Rowland. And rather than sit there and attempt to describe what you do, which is far beyond my knowledge or capacity, I'm going to allow you to explain to the audience exactly what it is you do.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about soil today. I'm also excited to show off my lack of computer gaming skills. I'm a microbiologist. I work as a Science and Technology Policy Fellow at the U.S. Department of Agriculture in the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. And I get to use my knowledge of microbiology to help protect plants from organisms that can harm them. And I also get to help other people learn about organisms that can help plants grow. And some of those organisms live in the soil, which we'll be hopefully talking about a little bit more.
Awesome. All right, so we are already in our Farmcraft world. So we're going to enter into our Farmcraft world, but this discussion is going to keep going because for those students who are watching the stream or those teachers or coaches for their esports programs are watching the stream, one of the things they may have noticed as they played through it already is that soil quality is one of the things that is measured in the game. So obviously your area of expertise and your knowledge with soil and microbiology would come into play as we talk about soil health and as we talk about soil quality for increasing plant growth. So that's going to be exciting as we get into this. So let's get into it. We're in the world right now. I want to make sure I'm sharing my screen and that I've got my chat open in case there are questions, and we're going to jump right in. All right, so we are back in the lobby, and if you've been playing through, you know this is the lobby. And in the past week, we did challenge our students to introduce themselves to the world of Farmcraft by taking on the Tropical Biome Challenge. And this was our Tropical Biome Challenge, and we've seen it quite a few times. To keep things kind of relatively harmless, let's say, for ourselves today, and deal with climates that something may be familiar to at least many I know in the U.S. as I drive through it. We're going to take a look today at the temperate biome, which is just to the left. And of course, before we leave today, we will talk about what the next challenge is going to be. That one is now live in the Flipgrid, and we will show you where to find it. So we're going to take a look at one of our other biomes. And some of you, some of the students in your diaries, as you submitted them, we saw some of those other biomes that you got adventurous and you checked them out anyway. There's no harm in that. So we are going to talk to our temperate biome farmer. In fact, Jen, do you want to talk to our temperate biome farmer?
Oh, I have to remember how.
You're going to want to right click on Mr. Temperate Biome.
There we go. All right, I'm getting ready. Do you want me to read out what it says?
Yeah, because you are the only one who's going to see that text bubble.
All right. The temperate biome, well, it's not too hot, but not too cold. Insects are pretty happy here. Plus, the soil is relatively healthy and receives occasional rain, which helps all kinds of plants grow. Can you balance all of these factors to help your crops grow? Guess we'll find out. I'm going to hit play this biome.
Yeah, let's play that biome. And again, right, we talked about last time how reading is important to this project.
Reading is so important.
Right, we got some information right out of that very first paragraph, right? So they said insects love it. That's a good thing, and also maybe not a good thing for us. So something we need to be aware of. It's rainy, and you know, it's not too hot or not too cold. I guess it's the temperature that Goldilocks would have picked.
And all plants grow, which means weeds also thrive.
Gotcha. Right. It's a happy home for all plants. Yeah, I love this biome.
I don't think I've been here before.
No, my folks live in the Carolinas, and this feels like we're visiting, with the exception of this lab on the hill.
Thank you.
Course, but. All right, so let's talk to our farmer again here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
See what our farmer has to say here. You want me to tackle this one, Jen?
Sure.
All right, I'll go for this one.
You just get closest. Who's ever closest?
That's me.
Okay.
Welcome to our temperate land. We don't get too much of anything, but we get a little of everything. Plants and insects like the gentle rains, nothing too extreme. It sounds like a comfortable place by comparison to some of the other biomes I've checked out. So, but that may not be to our benefit, because if it's comfortable for us, it may be comfortable for everything. Okay.
All right. Eric, your pants are ripped. You know that?
You mean in the game?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. I was like, you can't see below here on the camera.
Wow, I knew I should have. All right.
All right.
So let's click next.
So
click next. Yeah.
So who's ever the closest got the next screen. So basically, it talks to who's ever the closest.
Oh, is somebody else seeing it? Because
it's me.
Oh, someone else got it.
Sam. Where's Sam?
I'm all the way over here. I can't
You're
even
definitely
walk
not
to
the closest.
Oh,
You're in the
wow.
street over there. Yeah.
I think
there's
me.
Sam. There's Sam.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
The farm has everything you need and is ready for you to prepare the soil and plant the crops. Follow me. All right. He's going to take us on an adventure. Where'd he go? Here he comes.
All right. I'm following somebody.
I'm digging the flannel and the suspender look. This is a look I'm here for.
Yeah.
All right, the quality of your soil is very important. Oh, yeah, I think Jen would agree. The quality of your soil is very important. Fertilizer can increase the amount of nutrients in the soil, but overexposure to chemicals can be harmful to the environment. Would you now like to test the soil nutrient, or would you like to test the soil nutrient level now? It costs 25 points. Do we think it is a good idea to test our soil quality before farming? And Jen, I'm going to refer to you on that one.
We should defer to her because she's the soil expert.
I think it's really important to test your soil and find out what's going on before you start adding stuff to it, because if you start adding too much fertilizer, even with really healthy soils, you may not eat that. It may be harmful or waste money. So good to start out with information.
I agree. So we're going to say yes, test the soil. And we've got our soil quality, which is not great. 41 out of 100.
In the
not
temperate
spectacular.
Yeah.
Biome,
the soil's
yeah.
Okay.
We did not roll the lucky dice of the land here.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to do something about that.
Oh, so what are some things that would make the all right. I'm asking questions.
No, ask questions, Kathy.
Well, I mean, like, why might, even though we're in the temperate biome, which is supposedly, you know, a relatively easy place for things to grow, what would impact the soil quality? Why would it be so low?
Well, because we grow so much stuff in the temperate biome, repeated growing seasons might be reducing the health of the soil. And especially if you don't use, there are practices you can use to promote a healthy soil, such as crop rotation, which is planting different crops at different times instead of just always planting corn or always planting the same crop. If you rotate the crops, it helps develop a healthier soil. And then there are other practices as well that can help you maintain high soil quality. So if over time this has just been farmed over and over again, it may be a less healthy soil.
Okay. So I have a question for you when it comes to the term fertilizer, which we're using, admittedly, kind of loosely, right? We're going to just fertilize. I have to believe that can mean more than one thing, right? That there's not just one method or one chemical or anything that we add to soil to say, boom, there, now it's fertilized. I know you had mentioned bacteria and the importance of bacteria in our soil. How do those fertilizers affect bacteria? Are there ones that affect it in different ways? And is the bacteria itself ever actually the fertilizer?
Yeah. So fertilizers typically have 3 different nutrients in them: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And they can be in different mixes. So different plants like different amounts of nitrogen or phosphorus or potassium. You can use bacteria instead to help your plants accumulate more nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium directly from the soil instead of applying those elements directly as a fertilizer.
This strikes me as and I'm probably way off scientifically, and that's okay. I'm going to just out myself with this. But it strikes me as the difference between, like, you know, active cultures in the foods that we eat as compared to like taking vitamins.
Yeah, that's a great comparison, actually.
I'm going to pat myself on the back for that one.
Bacteria are not just there to like cause damage and destruction. They're actually required, you know, for our human lives, bacteria are required to get full nutrients from our food. And that's true for plants as well. So that having nice, healthy bacteria in the soil is really beneficial.
That makes total sense. So when we are talking about fertilization, what we're really talking about is making sure that plants have what they need, but how or what they get it from can totally vary, and of course the amounts they get can vary.
Yeah,
I like this notion of when we think of fertilization, we're not like just saying this is the one thing that we can do, right? It's clearly we have to add this one, you know, lab developed chemical, and that's the only possible option. Not that those are necessarily bad options. I'm sure farmers, again, a lot of what we've been talking about is farmers having to make best decisions, which again is not an easy task, I'm sure. And that's what our students have learned from their feedback and their diaries. That's not an easy task, right? One of the goals was decision making, but we've admittedly limited their decisions to certain things and simplified those decisions. when in reality it's probably, or I would believe it's far more complex than we perceive it to be.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's completely fascinating to me. So I love the idea that we're kind of using some of these generic terms, but as students dig into this, as they do research, and in fact, we had some students who talked about the term chemicals and utilizing those chemicals. We had students in their diaries who talked about the idea of crop rotation, right? And one of the things that maybe is realistic or maybe non-realistic about what we're doing here is just planting the same crop over and over and over again as we go through each trial, right? Even though it is a single season, going through each trial. And, if this were to go further and say, okay, we're going to plant for the next season, maybe we do those things, right? We incorporate something like crop rotation. And it fascinates me that students are doing the research, doing the homework, because that comes back in the conversation. Nothing that we are presenting here suggests best practice. It suggests real world practice.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So it's fascinating to see how students take that or even define the terms that are being utilized here, right? Because they're broad.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's still a lot of research to do to figure out what is best, what is good, So the real world is a laboratory for this.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we have heard from lots of students doing exactly that, like taking this world and applying good experimental practices, right? So, all right, we tested this one thing. Now let's not test that. Let's test this other condition and see if that helps. Okay, that one helped. We're going to say, yes, let's keep doing that. And testing them one by one and then combining those factors based on what they learned and seeing if that makes a difference. So literally going through like the scientific method of gaming, which is really cool. And to be honest, it was an outcome we were kind of hoping for.
Yeah.
And that's something that you're going to see a bigger push for. I think we're going to see a bigger push for as we announce Challenge 2, because that's kind of the goal of Challenge 2. So I love this. And I love thinking of it in more detailed and intricate, there's that word, terms than simply just saying fertilizer, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not that simple. Or I at least I came into this believing it wasn't that simple. So thank you for confirming that it's not that simple. All right, so so he has tested our soil and we got a 41 out of 100, so not spectacular. And now, of course, he's letting us know to visit the other farmer by the barn to get some supplies. So let's take an adventure. It looks like Kathy and Brian are already over there.
So it's asking if we want to pay 25 coins for a fertilizing hoe that will amend the soil while we till it.
Now, I will guess that based on the fact that we have, and you know what, I'm going to go through and start kind of questioning things, to be honest, but the fact that we have a 41 means we probably want to do some fertilization of some kind. So I would say, right, say yes, that's probably a good idea. So let's buy that one. Let me say yes.
Someone get me one, please.
All right, someone has to get one.
Kathy, where are you?
Some
Here,
technical
I'm over here.
So
Over here. Thank you.
It's on the floor.
I'm picking it up. Got it. Thank you.
So we're gonna buy those, and we're gonna do some tilling. So here I'm gonna ask that same question again, right? We're tilling the soil to prepare it for crop.
I forgot how to buy a hoe.
You gotta talk to the farmer, right click on the farmer that's by the barn, and then choose the option from the buttons at the bottom.
Here you go.
But my question is tilling something that is just absolutely standard practice, right? Because right now that seems to be what we're discussing, is everything as cut and dry as as we see it in the game, or
you don't till this. No, Eric, no.
Oh, I'm stopping the till.
Yeah, give Jen some time to till.
Okay.
She's got to come over.
Wait, I gotta catch
Farmcraft is a team game.
Eric, you need to spare a square for Jen.
Oh, I like it. Can we make a little sign that's here that says spare a square for your friends?
Yeah. All right. So
she's on the spot now.
Aim right here. A little to the left.
Brown one.
Yeah, you want to hit the dirt, not the grass. But over here. See where I'm jumping up and down? I'm jumping on the raggedy soil over here.
Okay, there we go. Now I can see the difference between the soil.
Yeah,
then you lost
exactly.
your hoe. Press the number 1.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. And right click.
right click.
Yes.
Yeah, not like petting
And now
a pig.
do that whole row that you're standing on.
Yeah. So walk, W, right click. W, right click. Oops, you're S-ing.
We're not worried
Yeah,
about
because
time.
I saw those squares behind me.
Backtracking.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
W, right click.
And you can hold your
W,
right click too,
You can just hold it down and walk. Yeah.
and then just walk.
So awkward.
There you go.
So,
You're doing great. There you go. There she
You're
goes.
doing.
Oh
There you
yeah.
go.
There we go.
You're a natural.
Tilling like a
Oh,
villain.
Yeah, that little crosshair that's in the middle of your screen, that tells you exactly which block you're looking at. So you want to aim with that.
Yay! One more.
So
Yay!
you're asked,
Yay.
So tilling is complete, but again, going back to the question of tilling, is tilling always a standard and best practice for the soil?
Yeah.
Now, in this case, we're
necessarily
starting
always have-
totally fresh, right? We've got soil that we've never touched before. But what if
Yeah.
we already had?
Yeah, if you already have tilled like your land in a real life farm, you may not till it again necessarily, because every time you till, it's really destructive of that living soil community that you have. So there are farm practices now to reduce the tilling. Sometimes that means it's a little bit more challenging to get seeds back into the soil, but there are special machines that can help get through whatever you've left on top of the soil. But reducing tilling in the real world means that you reduce the disruption to the soil, you reduce soil loss, which is a really huge problem. Having this nice brown, high quality soil is something we really need for farming. And if we're reducing it every time we till, that's a problem.
So my mind immediately goes to, and this will be historically speaking, and from books I've read, like the Dust Bowl. Which
Yeah,
I know if our
overtilling
students are
combined
not
with,
familiar with that, right? It was literally like the soil had dried out. There was like our topsoil was eroding and blowing away. So is that something that is a consequence of over-tilling?
Yeah, over-tilling combined with other things happening. But one of the things the microbes in the soil do, like not just bacteria, but fungi as well, is they help retain moisture in the soil. So every time you till, disrupt those nutrients that the microbes are relying on, you lose microbes, you lose soil, you lose moisture, those good things that you want to hang on to.
So there's balance, which I think is something we discover through the process of this game, and a lot of students use that term of balance, right? Like, we want to do this but not overdo it, because we also have other things that we need to make sure we're doing. So balance was a factor with cost, balance was a factor with fertilization, so all of those things. So now we need something to plant in our beautiful soil. So our ATV has appeared, and our soil quality has gone up a bit. But Jen, do you want to drive?
Oh gosh, so much pressure.
I know.
Let's see if I can manage it.
Look, part of this is because I want you to play the game, but part of it is also because we're live streaming and we need entertainment value for the live stream.
That's true, right? We want to see if this thing floats.
Now,
Is
we
what he's
can't
trying to
all
say.
go. It can only seat 4 people, so
I'll chill out
stay
here.
back.
you're gonna chill.
stay back.
Okay. All right.
I'll
ride shotgun. Wait, am I driving?
I think you're driving.
I am driving. Hold on.
driving.
Let me get out. So you need to right click on the driver's seat. There you go. Now you're driving. And now I'm in the passenger seat. And you're just going to press forward to drive and left and right to steer. So W is your drive.
Oh boy.
We're good. We're good. Follow the road to the left.
I'm in the kitchen. I'm going to make you guys some food.
Let's not drive over the bridge.
Oh
boy. All right. This is totally worth it. This is 100% worth it.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
Everyone has their
There you
seatbelt on, right?
All right.
Everyone has their seatbelt
The
on.
crosshair leads the way.
That's right.
Wow, look at you guys. You look so cute in your little green
That's right.
car.
We're adorable. I switched views, so we went into the F5 mode. So
Yeah.
we can see us all chilling in our ride.
That's so nice. Whoa, that was cool. Everyone's still there? You didn't get whiplash?
Nope. So you can just press the space bar now, Jen, to get out. Yep. Kathy is now driving all of a sudden.
There you
And
go.
we're going to walk into the lab.
Kathy can park it in a reasonable
I'll park it.
You're going to park it? All right,
I'll
so
back
Kathy's
it
on
in.
parking, dude. She's our valet.
She's parallel parking. She lives in, right? You live in North Jersey. You got more.
Yeah. Come on, Jen.
A lot of parallel parking.
Oh.
Well, if you have a small car, you can just pull in.
So these scientists here, and I think you've been through this a little bit with us, but these scientists here give you some information about the various factors that go into, or that seeds, let's say, and plants have to deal with in a particular area, and what modifications can be made through whatever process, whether it's GE, genetic engineering, or whether it's through hybridization. Or you had brought up something in our early conversations that I don't know that we had considered. And that was this idea of, and I actually don't know what it is, but you used the terms seed coating.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
So what is seed coating?
So you can take seeds that you're going to plant in the field and you can coat them in different products. So some seeds you can buy pre-coated with a pesticide on them so that the little seed has a chance to germinate and grow and not be eaten by the insects that are probably really happy in this environment. But you can also coat those seeds with the microbes that help the plant grow so that it's already, as soon as the roots start forming and the leaves start coming up, the microbes that will make that plant happy and grow well will already be there. So that's handy when you have that kind of porous soil. Instead of spraying something all over the soil, maybe you can just put it on the seeds instead and put the seeds right there, and they'll have
that's cool.
They'll have their little microbial
cool.
buddies to help them.
I love that. So we're seeing that there's really lots of ways to modify seeds prior to germinating those seeds or planting those seeds, and not, so again, we are not in this project, right? We're leaving so many of these choices up to our students. In fact, if they wanted to make no changes whatsoever and literally just put in the elbow grease, if you will, for lack of a better term, and deal with the weeds by hand, deal with the insects by hand, and have a strategy to do that using essentially the farm power, the power of the farmers on staff, it could be done. So we're leaving those choices very much to them. But I like that, again, it's not even as simple as, yes or no. There are a variety of options in the real world. And again, making those choices, a lot of things to consider for farmers. So I will ask the group, and maybe Kathy, you can help us out, Sam, you can help us out. What factors do we want to make sure what traits are in our seeds here as we plant based on the biome we're in?
Well, I feel like the farmer said something along the lines of, everybody likes it here in the temperate biome, even the bugs, right?
Right.
So maybe we need an insect resistant seed.
Okay, so that is over here, and that costs 150 coins. And I guess we're agreeing to buy that. So we bought that.
And then the other thing was, I remember it saying, the farmer saying that it rains a lot, so we probably are okay with the water. And then but our soil quality is not so good, is it?
Yeah.
It's not great. And I would say that we probably have to make a decision, right? So other plants, this is something that Brian made a good point of bringing up. If plants grow well here, it means all plants grow well here, including the ones we may not particularly want. However, you are right, our soil quality wasn't spectacular, but I feel like we're running short on cash and have to make a decision. So do we want improved soil health, or do we want tolerance to herbicides so that we can remove weeds?
Well, okay, so then the other thing is, can we put 3 traits or only 2?
Good question. We could do all, but then we're flat out of cash.
Well,
and then watering becomes a factor.
But water, it says the biome rains a lot.
All right. So we're here in the debate. I hope our students are having these debates when they get into this too. Like, this is the conversations I hope they're having.
Yeah, totally. And there's deeper thought too. Like, you should definitely play the game many times, because you'll get a hang for a strategy. Like, maybe there's a reason to take on the manual effort of the bugs more so than the weeds, or one thing versus the other. So what might seem intuitive at first might need to be rethought, which I think is a great thing in life and in this game.
Yeah.
What did we buy so far?
We bought the insect resistance.
Oh, we did. Okay. All right. So let's take on the weeds.
Okay, so that one is over here. That's the
No.
side.
Let's take them on.
Oh, you
manually.
want to take them on by hand and
Yeah.
go with
do
the soil help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Sounds good. And
Oh, funny. It sounded like a coin dropped.
Yeah.
we are going
Is
to.
that what happened?
Yeah.
We're gonna press our button. And if you have not seen this machine in action, it is just so super cool. Brian, this is your finest hours. This thing.
I love this. Yes, it definitely.
It's so cool. It has the DNA in it.
Yeah.
And he asked so many questions, making sure, like, I want to make sure I have this exactly scientifically right. Like, you know,
Yeah,
of course,
of course.
you know,
This is
within
exactly how it
Minecraft
happens.
limitations. Okay,
Okay, I see someone's got seeds.
someone's got seeds. It's not me. It's whoever was
it's
closest
Jen.
to the
Jen has
machine when it was
seeds.
done. Jen's
All right,
got the
let's go in the
seeds.
truck.
Okay, so we have to drive back to the farm now. We've got our seeds. So
So
you know what? While we're driving back, I have this other question. We keep using the term microbes, and I know we've kind of mentioned bacteria as an example. But is that limited to bacteria, right? Are there living things in the soil that we need to be aware of that are
Sam's
not
driving.
just the bacteria?
No, there's way more stuff in the soil than just bacteria. There are fungi, and then there are worms. There are small worms that you can't really see with your eyes. Some of those are called nematodes. There can also be algae in the soil, all kinds of organisms. And those are just the small ones. Then there are also like big ones. Like, I have no idea
Earthworms.
how I'm running right now. I'm not actually touching
Yeah, I don't know
anything.
where we lost you. Where
Yeah.
did, and she has all the seeds.
she's got the. You probably in the
I'm not
cart.
touching anything.
Is your character's just running, hopefully in the right direction? All right, we're gonna
Running.
have to hoof it. We don't have the vehicle anymore. And see
Wait,
if we
but
can't track
I'm
you
at the
down.
farm.
I'm also at the farm. We all got teleported to the farm except for Jen
But Jen is gone?
because she
So
was in the ATV.
If someone takes off with the cart, then everybody gets teleported from
So
the
she
lab
basically
back to
just
the
took
farm.
the ATV and ran.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, we got there faster. So I see where you are.
Yeah.
I'm in the dark now.
You are here. See, see where if you look towards the light, go into the light.
Go towards the light.
No,
All is peaceful in the
this way.
light.
There we go.
Oh
We'll
my
have-
goodness.
We'll have to hoof it back to the
There
farm,
she
but that's okay
is.
because
There
it's going to
she
allow us
is.
to enjoy Brian's beautiful scenery here in his town.
Okay.
She's cracking
okay.
up.
We're following the signs. We're
Oh
taking
wait,
the
I'm going
scenic
the wrong
route.
way. Oh no, I'm going right.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
We're doing really well on time.
I think this is a good note too, that like any of the parents or the adults that are involved in this is not something for you to sit back and just kind of let the kids do. Get involved. Like I think if anything that we're modeling today is that this game is for everyone to get involved, and it'll probably be a more rich experience for the kids involved if the adults get engaged and maybe even try to learn, model what learning and failing and trying and laughing looks like.
That's right. You know, if you want a relative, you know, a relatable story for that. I remember when we got our first Nintendo Wii,
So you can
the
throw
Wii
them.
boxing game. We made my mom do it. I have a video of this still, and it was one of the most entertaining moments of my life. So,
So Jen, if you hit Q, if you press Q, you'll throw the seeds that you have, and we can pick them up. Or Eric
Oh, okay.
can pick them
but
up.
you have to like mash Q. A whole
You have to
bunch.
go Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q Q.
Yo,
Yay!
Q.
And then, of course, if you have seeds in your hand, you would plant them the same way that you tilt, which is you just grab them and you look at the soil and you right click.
She's so generous. Dr. Jen is so generous.
Yes.
I'm trying to get rid of them all.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to plant these seeds.
I don't know the responsibilities. Okay.
I'm gonna back. I planted a few, but I'm gonna back off this time and leave the work to the
Square
professionals.
square for our friends.
That's right.
Your
Okay.
friend.
So what do I do?
The
to
same
plant?
thing as tilling.
Right. So with the seed in your hand, you're gonna look at a square of the soil and right click. Yep, there
Right
you go.
click
Those are
W,
planted.
right click W.
Now, just careful. You can
Yay!
walk on your plants. You can even run on them, but you definitely can't jump on them.
Okay.
I see Brian taking risks and being a daredevil through the center, living on the edge.
I'm
Yeah,
practicing. I'm practicing my precision
that's right.
while I
Extreme
still have
farming.
we still have a hoe and some extra seeds. So, you know, it's
Oh, where?
a
Where's
safe.
those the seeds? Where are the
Oh.
seeds?
Oh,
Jen's got all the seeds.
Where
Oh,
are you?
Jen's got them
I'll
all.
come to
I
you.
keep-
I'll come to you and throw seeds.
Q, Q, Q. Thank you.
That's right.
Whoops. Someone else took them.
oh, someone else.
Uh-oh.
Oh, maybe you took them back. Q, Q,
Uh-oh.
Q. No, what am I
Yeah.
doing? Oh, I have some.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
yeah.
it now.
Nice.
So the other question I would ask you is, you know, we mentioned the idea of adding certain chemicals to the soil,
Mhm.
right? Either manually or, of course, by promoting the growth of certain bacteria that can also provide those same nutrients to the plants. Is there a process for manually adding bacteria to soil? So are there situations where we take those microbes that are not present and like literally add them to some places where they're not?
Yeah, definitely. That is something that a lot of agricultural companies are working on, is formulating different products that can be added to the soil just like fertilizer would, but instead it's microbial products instead.
And then do you know, out of curiosity, and this is for my own fun in-game curiosity, do we know what application process that is? It something that's sprayed onto the soil? Is it injected into the soil? Is it mixed in?
It's typically sprayed on, but it can also go in as a seed coating. So depending on what types of things you want to do with those microbes, you might choose one method over another.
That makes total sense to me. And of course, because again, we use these terms like spraying fertilizer onto the plants, and you'll see once we get to the next stage in our farming, we've got the big sprayers that either add water or add fertilizers and things like that. We could, if I was doing my diary report as a student, say, you know what, for the purposes of this run through, we're going to assume that what our sprayer is outputting are those active bacteria and microbes, those active cultures that are going to promote our soil growth.
That would definitely work.
All right, so now here's where I tell you we have to do both sides. We're halfway there, and some change.
Do I still have like all the seeds?
I think you still have most of the seeds, yeah. I am fresh out of seeds. So if you want to queue a bunch, I'll take some and help out from the other end. Just go nuts with the queue there. That's pretty good. I'll start down here.
Oh, did you know this? I'm
What's that?
Googling nematodes.
Are you?
Nematodes, yes.
4 out of every 5 animals on Earth is a nematode.
Whoa.
Ooh. So
Because there's that
literally
many of them.
80%. So if we said we're going to just randomly pick a group of animals and throw them in a room, 80% of them would be nematodes.
Yes, nematodes are the most numerically abundant animals on Earth.
Wow.
That is
According
a
to Scientific
phenomenal fact to
American.
know.
Another win for being small.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Sam's comment in the chat. She's being quiet, but Sam, I wish you would have spoken up with that because it's gold. It's absolutely gold. So you know what? I'm not gonna steal this line from you, Sam. Unmute yourself and say what you put in the chat right now.
This is not a factual fact. However, I did ask if, what was it? If 1 in 5, or what was the stat?
Yeah. Well,
1 in 5 animals are
4
nematodes.
and 5. 4 out of 5.
4
out of
to
5.
5. Oh wow, that means there's a chance that many of us in here are nematodes.
That's right. That's how that works.
So you're
Yes,
saying
that's
I
how
have a
that-
chance.
No, that is not how stats work. Do not listen to me.
All right. So we've got our soil properly tilled and somewhat fertilized. We've got our crops that are herbicide and insect resistant planted. Let's see what's next. So good work. We'll need your help to make sure the crops grow strong and produce the best harvest. Weeds and insect pests can destroy crops, so it's important to remove them quickly. Don't forget to make sure your crops are watered. And I believe that we'll see a very rapid sunset on day one.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings us into day two, which is where we begin to manage and care for our crops.
Get ready.
This is where we start to see things like our weed penalty and so on. My question to you, though, is these practices of soil quality and soil maintenance and good soil health, do they start and stop prior to planting our crops, or is this an ongoing process, like throughout the life cycle of our crops prior to harvest?
That's a good question. I think I don't actually know the real world answer to. I think there are times when you don't want to fertilize because that can be really damaging to the plants. I think, there are set times when you want to manage, and then there are times when you just have to leave the crops alone.
Gotcha. Now, Brian, looking at our soil, how's our water level doing? It looks a little dry, but not terrible.
Yeah. So a couple of advice, like since the water is
Oh, wait, are you breaking weeds? Oh, yes.
I am breaking weeds very rapidly.
I don't see them. I see some, but not all.
I know
I'll stand down here. I'll stand down here because I see. Oh, I see.
Yep, you have about.
And now we broke some crops because we all went for it.
You have about 5 seconds before it turns into a full-fledged weed. So it'll spawn in as a weed entity, and if that entity sits there too long on the crop, it'll kill the crop and take over as a actual dandelion block. So the main part of this game is getting there early and removing the weed by punching it without punching your crops. If you don't coordinate with your teammates, then you both punch. One kills the weed, the other one kills the crop. So it's
that's what just happened. 3 of us. We killed 2 blocks of crop.
Yeah. So that happens, and that's a good learning on how do we communicate. Gotcha.
Well, I know we're not going to be able to play through the entire game on stream today, nor do we want to, because we certainly we don't want to give away the whole thing for those who have not tried this biome. Sam, I want to make sure we're staying on time. I know we're a little past, but conversation gets me there.
Yeah,
no,
so,
not you.
I think
I'm more than happy to let everyone keep playing.
No, we should start to transition to a few other things that we do want to cover. But with this segment called Food for Thought, I wanted to turn it back over to Jennifer to give an opportunity to maybe give some food for thoughts for our teams that are out there virtually farming, but maybe some things that they can think about around the soil for their at-home gardens. I know a lot of people have houseplants right now, so I want to take advantage of this opportunity with you while we do have you to close out a food for thought.
Sure. So I think you could, if you have houseplants at home, you can see that your plants actually communicate pretty well with you. They're dry, their leaves droop. Sometimes the leaves turn yellow, and that's because they need more nutrients. Sometimes the leaves start to get brown spots on them, and that might be because they're actually sunburnt. So your plants communicate to you what's happening so that you can make adjustments to their life with more water, more fertilizer, repotting, and those are all true out in the field as well. The plants tell you what they're needing, and the farmers can pay attention to that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that idea of being, literally communicating with the plants in a way, right? Where we're being reactive and responsive to needs.
Yeah. So it saves you from doing something that's not needed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So if everyone in the chat can give a huge thank you to Dr. Jennifer Rowland, who has joined us for today's Food for Thought. We're all going to say goodbye to her now as well. But thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was super fun.
Bye, Dr. Jen.
Thanks, Dr. Jen.
Thank you, Dr. Jen. All right, so at this point, I think we're going to take a look at some student diaries from Challenge 1, regular season Challenge 1, where your goal was to go into and try out the tropical biome and see, through repetition or through trial and error, or just by giving an opportunity, how it changed up the world of Minecraft from what we're used to doing farming in Minecraft, which is what we did in our preseason challenges, to utilizing the world itself. And we only gave you one biome that we asked you to kind of tackle in this first week, although some of you did venture out, as we mentioned earlier, because we wanted to get your feedback. We wanted to hear what your thoughts were after just experiencing just one of the biomes. So we're going to kind of showcase some of those diary entries right now. So we've got 3 we'd like to share. But there was so much good feedback and so much good content in all of the diaries. And there were some themes we heard from so many of you that were talking about, again, some things that we talked about today, the use of chemicals in the soil. But I think we had a really good discussion today about talking about, what those could be, even beyond something like an additive or a nutrient, and even as much as adding living things like bacteria and nematodes is our new favorite word. So fascinating stuff there that we can do to improve soil health. And some of you had feedback on that, which is great. She had mentioned crop rotation, which is something you mentioned. But some of the other things we heard from you was the use of teamwork. So many of you and your teams were assigning roles to students to make sure that everyone had a role and knew what their job was on the farm to make things run smoothly. That you communicated when it came to decision making. That was phenomenal. We absolutely loved to hear those comments. We loved all of that. That was really fantastic. And more than any of it, the thing that I loved the most anyway was those of you, and there were so many, that talked about repeated experimentation, trying it over and over again until we could improve our practice. And that's a huge step and a huge goal to have. And so many of you took that challenge on and took it to heart. And it was just so phenomenal to see. Really loved it. So let's take a look at some of these diaries. So I will share my screen and make sure I'm sharing screen sound as well. That is always a factor. And let's take a look at the first one. So our first one is from team The Big Four from Pasadena, California, right here in the US. So let's have a look and a listen.
Hello, today we'll be talking about our Farmcraft challenge results as well as what we learned. Overall, our farm received a total of 1,641 points. On average, the soil quality was 566, our weed timer was 75, our till delay was 66, our seed delay was 63, our harvest count was 51, and our water penalty was 24. To start, we bought one normal gardening hoe and one modified fertilizing hoe. After tilling our farm with a mixture of these 2 tills, we headed to the labs to buy seeds. Our seeds were modified with insecticide. When we finished planting all our seeds, we proceeded to water our farm. Eventually, our plants began to grow taller. We mostly used water and fertilizer, but no insecticide or herbicides. We budgeted well with a total of 150 coins left. We used insecticide seeds so that we wouldn't get many bugs. We also used a lot of fertilizer and a fertilizing hoe so that the soil quality would go up. This relates to farming in real life, because in real life farms you have to plant crops and kill weeds and bugs trying to eat your crops. So this is a good way to simulate a normal farming experience. We learned that farming is very hard work, especially with large amounts of caterpillars and butterflies swarming around our plants. Weeds were hard to deal with too. To produce a better score next time, our team can use insecticide, but a minimal amount, to keep too many insects from destroying our crops. We can experiment with different seeds and their effects on this biome. We can try to use only fertilizing hoes for the betterment of our soil, and we can use leftover money for more supplies and water. And that is pretty much it.
So you can tell definitely, right, when listening to this, that they kind of took note of their practices and had immediately thoughts of, when repeating the experiment, here's what we're going to try next, which, again, I love the way that they laid it out, right? They didn't even say, okay, let's sort of answer this question or answer this question. We're just going to literally speak naturally to our experience in the world, which I thought was really a great way to do it. And admittedly, watching them jump around excited was also fun.
And I just think too, like, for next time, it's like, this is a perfect opportunity to experiment with things that in real life would take years and years and years. This is something that Dr. Adam Cornish mentioned last time, that it could take generations for a change to happen, right? And so in this game, we have that opportunity to try different things and see the result and a little bit faster.
I agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, like all those themes and things that we've been talking about that students have been providing feedback, we're hearing it in these conversations.
Mhm.
And I'm loving that sort of feedback, right? The realizations that we're making. So the next one we're going to look at is from the Knights of the Crafting Table, all the way from Baku, Azerbaijan.
I love saying that.
Nice.
You love saying Azerbaijan?
Yes, I think
It is. It rolls off beautifully, right? It really does. Let's take a look.
Completing this challenge took us quite some time and multiple tries. We had to restart the challenge multiple times to see how we could change our process of completing the trial to get a higher score, as well as all the factors that could be improved, and the ones that played into having a higher score. For example, the amount of butterflies we caught, the different upgrades we used for coins, the amount of coins we spent, and stuff like that. Our end outcome was around 1,600 points, which was our third or fourth attempt, and we did not get any higher after that. The reason this was quite close to farming is because we had to worry about the same aspects as you would while real life farming, such as insects, water, insecticide, different chemicals, basically, harvesting, growing it out for a long time, and some very little chemical improvements that could be done, like fertilizers and stuff like that. If we could change anything, it would probably be more coordination, since we started coordinating quite late, and we got lost like in our plans multiple times, so that could be changed. Maybe different upgrades to see how they would work.
So I feel like they came to a realization that we came to when we played our first when we were play testing, even before release, which was, like at first we all jumped in and we were just chaotically, scrambling after caterpillars and scrambling after weeds and all, fighting over who got to drive, which was always Kathy.
Yeah.
Kathy gets to drive.
There's no fight. Yeah, there was no fight.
No, there was no
No
fighting.
fight. Yeah,
Kathy gets to drive. Kathy gets to drive. That's the reality. Kathy gets to drive. But again, it's nice to see, like, we're seeing students go through the same processes we went through, and then even taking it a little bit further, because again, every single one of these is talking about not here's what we got, but here's what we're going to do next, right? We've got a new strategy we're going to attempt to implement, and I loved that, and I feel like they all kind of came away with this idea that farming is hard work. And I remember my first playthrough, by the time it got to that 6th or 7th cycle, I was like, all right, this is.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, how is that different from a video game where like the difficulty ramps up, or it takes a certain amount of perseverance to get through it? So I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I can't believe it's been 2 weeks since the game launched.
It has been.
I love seeing the leaderboard. I love the grouping of the scores. I like the high score is a really nice stretch goal, but it's attainable. I'm looking at these scores from people, seeing like areas of improvement in how they manage their soil and how they manage their water. And you think about like the butterfly mechanic and how that adds, and there's so much more thinking and more revealing that you can do by playing this over and over again to get a higher score, and to also just be creative with your problem solving, which is probably the better outcome than a high score.
So then, do we have a second challenge?
We do have a second challenge. So I'm going to jump into the second challenge. We are short on time, and I'm going to put a pin in this one because this was one I really did like, and I know we'll have an opportunity to share more in the future. But we do have a second challenge. So if we head over to the flipgrid.com NASEF for Farmcraft, our Farmcraft Flipgrid, we will see that right now. Live challenges. Challenge number 2 is now live. Now keep in mind, if you are just joining us, you can still go back and create your diary entry for challenge number 1. You can do that anytime throughout the season. So if you need to update it, or if you haven't completed diary entry 1 for challenge 1, you can still go back and do those. But let's take a look at challenge number 2.
Oh, and you have to do the challenge
today.
in order to be eligible for the prize.
That's right.
All 3.
So let's take a look at regular season challenge number 2, right? So in this one, rather than saying you had to take on a particular biome, which is what we told you last time, you had to take on the tropical biome, you're going to work with your teammates to take on 2 or 3 additional biomes. We are not going to specify which ones they are. We want you to make some choices. So whether that's the desert biome or the temperate one, which we just went through, whether that's the cold biome or any of the other ones that I'm forgetting, the island biome I know is one as well. Any of those biomes that we haven't assigned to you yet. So we really only assigned you 1, which was tropical. So we'd like you to try some of the other ones out, at least 2, potentially 3. And again, work through those. And upon doing so, once again, there will be some diary questions to ask yourselves and to answer with your diary entries. Which biomes did your team compete in for this challenge? So which ones did you choose? And what decisions did your team make when completing those biome challenges? After completing each biome, reflect. How many methods did your team try in the biome? And how did your scores vary after each try? So again, talk very specifically about your experimentation process to improve your score. And did your team experience any limitations or challenges in any of the biome challenges? So if you've done 2 biomes, discuss which one perhaps was more challenging and why by comparison it was more challenging. So that is your diary entry that is due by April 23rd. Again, you can enter these biome challenges anytime during, or these diary entries anytime, but if you enter it before that date, it has a chance, of course, of being featured in our next live stream. So that is our next challenge. And of course, keep entering your high scores.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get yourself on that leaderboard. Oh, that's right. Is there anything to do like outside of the game?
I'm glad you asked.
What if I wanted to learn, like, what if these nematodes were highly interesting? Like, I'm obsessed, maybe.
Sam, do you have any recommendations?
Yes. And so I'm actually going to record a separate video for everyone to review them in depth, but I do want to take some time to announce it to everyone that you can actually go on the website and look for yourself. But on our website, we have the NASEF Beyond the Game challenges. So I'm just going to briefly show the web page, but I do encourage you to go in and take a look for yourself. And we have 5 Beyond the Game challenges for NASEF Farmcraft. So you do not need to be a NASEF Farmcraft registered team. You don't need to be in a NASEF club. You can be an individual student that's participating or a team of students that are accomplishing the Beyond the Game challenges. But we have the first one, which is Farm Tank, problem solving with agricultural biotechnology. For those that did any of our COVID Minecraft challenges, we have Inform the Public, Food in the Environment, and Fight for a Cause, Food in the Environment. And so that is taking your preferred medium of choice and using it to either educate the public or advocate for a cause that you're passionate about that involves food in the environment. We have Patch Notes, evaluating food resources in your community. So how would you adjust your community to better provide food to your neighbors and your peers? And then lastly, Not All Heroes Wear Capes, highlighting different game changers. So here we are encouraging you to find a food or agricultural biotechnology game changer out there, whether you connect with them personally or find someone who has video footage and interviews online that you can read and use. But essentially, we want you to reimagine the different people working with food as game changers in our society, and how are they heroes to us, and how would you imagine them kind of as a comic book hero yourself? So we have 5 Beyond the Game challenges available, and so you can complete them and then submit just 2 brief questions with your submissions. And these currently close Friday, April 30th. However, we're going to let anyone know if we have any plans to extend this deadline, because like we said, this is not directly tied to NASEF Farmcraft team registration, and this is open to anyone who is interested in participating that is a student learner out there. So we will get a video out there that goes into everything a lot more in depth, what the different challenge requirements are, and where you're going to need to submit them to. But we have a lot of different options for everyone. We have a menu of options available. So whether you're completing the regular season challenges and submitting to the leaderboard and working to get the highest score that you can, or whether you're just joining for the regular season challenges and learning how to use Minecraft in a different way with your teams and with your peers. Or you can also participate in our Farmcraft Beyond the Game challenges, which don't necessarily require you to use Minecraft. You can use Minecraft, but you can also use digital art, physical art, videos, Google PowerPoint, slide decks. Really, these are open-ended for you to take on. And so we hope that there's an option for everyone out there, no matter which country or the age that you are as a student learner. And I think that's everything that we needed to cover for today.
It was a lot.
Yeah, we're going to be back in 2 weeks though. So April 28th, we will be back with another bi-weekly stream and also another edition of Food for Thought with Dr. Kate Brahman. And that topic is going to be water. So I'm really looking forward to our next stream. And I want to thank everyone who joined us today on this stream for just being super interesting and cool people that are in Minecraft with us. I think this is really, it's just so fun, like every time that you can extend it forward. And I also want to thank Damien, our stream producer behind the scenes, for always keeping us looking great as well. So thank you all. We'll be back in 2 weeks and we hope you have a great rest of the week.
Bye, everyone.